Welcome to another sit down stand up with John Kenneth. That be moi. How are you? Hey, Longo, how you doing, brother?
I'm doing pretty good as always, John.
Very
A
good.
little late to it today.
Yes,
Sorry,
you
though.
are very late there. This is gonna be a cool show. We got a really cool guest. You know, we have a lot of cool. We've been doing this show a long time now, and we get a lot of cool guests. But this guy, man, not only is he just funny, but he's a cool dude. I mean, I can't wait to start talking to him. So let me do the quick intro, and then we'll bring him on. All right, he's a stand up comic. He's known for his sharp wit, his nostalgic humor, down to earth storytelling. He's originally from East Lansing, Michigan, a Spartan, but now he resides in the Denver area. And he also created the Comedy Cartel, which gives comics a platform to refine their craft and promote their stuff and all that. And I am so pleased to have on also a self-proclaimed hippie. And you know what? He looks like a hippie, and I think he acts like one. Would you please welcome Bear Love? Hello, Bear Love.
How's it going, people?
Peace, man. How are you? It's good. Hey, thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me. I love to talk.
Are you? Oh, that's good. And well, this is the venue to do it. Oh, fantastic, man. So a lot to unpack here because before we dive into your comedy, I love talking about the backgrounds of the comics and all that. And before we got on air, you were talking about you dabbled at an early age in what we might call weed. And
Yes.
started in the retail business of weed I'm assuming in East Lansing, Michigan.
Yep.
You were a vendor of the weed.
So, I found out I was moving out of my parents' house
At age
and
9?
at 18. This is a different
18.
part. But
Okay.
it continued until I had to move out of my house. And the reason why I had to move out of my parents' house was because landlines were the biggest snitches back in the day. Because you could pick
What?
up a landline in the other room.
Right.
And so when my friend was calling for an eighth, my dad was upstairs and he heard my friend ask me for an eighth. And so, so my weed dealing ended up being a thing from a very young age until the reason that I literally had to leave my parents' house because, what it ended up turning into is how I had weed money at a young age to invest in is because hippies
Yeah.
hate to cut their hair. You know what I mean?
Oh, okay.
And so my
Yeah.
parents would tell me, go get a haircut. Here's $20.
Right.
And my dad would do that. But my mom and dad didn't talk about it all the time. They both just knew I needed a haircut. So my mom would be like, here's us $20, go get a haircut. So before I went and got a haircut, I would take $40 and buy a quarter ounce of weed and then break it all down into $10 bags, or we'd roll joints for $5. This started at 11 because nobody would sell us weed. We started smoking younger.
So basically you were selling weed for 7, 8 years before your parents figured it out?
Yeah, and my dad was so naive, and so later my mom, we had the basement. We're the basement dwelling teenagers, you know what I mean?
And then
So there was a whole nother
they weren't
there was a
curious.
whole
Like,
nother world.
"Wait,
So if they ever wanted to say anything, it was just to the top of the stairs to yell down, you know?
Man.
Like, I remember one time my dad walked in. I had like a bunch of girlfriends, not like my girlfriends, but like a bunch of friends that were my girls. And one time I had 7 girls in my bedroom when my dad came downstairs at like 2 a.m. And he goes, I wanted to be mad, but I was proud.
That's so he didn't look at what was underneath the covers, and I'm talking about what you were hiding. Wow, so
That definitely
good for you.
happened. And he found a quarter pound of my weed. And
That was
that
it.
is when I was on my own.
So he wasn't proud of that, huh?
No, he was not. Oh, well, he
Proud of
was
the
more
hair,
my
not
mom's
proud of-
champion, and my mom sent him in to do a job, which was to get me to stop going. And I remember my mom saying this one time. She goes, "You're going to end up in jail," which I have. And
You
I
did.
could not believe that. I thought she was absurd to say that. I thought she was so absurd.
God.
I've done a whole year in jail, but
For
yeah.
weed?
For LSD.
Oh, okay. So you graduated up a couple notches. All right. So
I met this band named the Grateful Dead.
Rachel.
Yeah. And so,
So wait,
the remaining
so when
members
did
of
you
the
do-
Grateful Dead, they still tour.
When did you
Bob
do-
Weir.
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh.
Yep.
So wait, you sold to them?
I've hung out with anyone in that band, but they're not the type that are still doing that. But just within the whole scene, I was very known for. Uh, yep. I
Now,
did
when
some
did you?
jail
How old were
time.
you when you? How old were you when you did time?
That was like 15 years ago now. So I was
That's
probably
not a
like
long time ago.
27, 28.
Oh my gosh! I mean,
Yeah.
like, are you talking hard time, or did they stick you in
I
a country club? Where'd they put you?
yeah, I was about 15 minutes from Washington D.C. with some straight up murderers.
Oh my
But
God!
I had political clout in the jail, they said.
Which means what?
I don't know. I was trying to help teach some people how to, I guess, launder money. But I was teaching people how to, when they got out, how to finance cars, like so that when they got out for the 2 years, that they'd actually have a nice car with their money, here in Washington D.C. And so basically, I would actually teach them. And so I was doing these mortgage classes inside of jail where people had to,
Oh my!
and because all my people helped me with a lawyer outside, so I didn't have them put money for like cookies on my account, right, while I was in there.
Right, right,
So I had
right.
to make money while I was in there. So I was teaching classes about how to get your credit around and stuff. And so all of them had my email address in their bunk one time when the deputies shook us down.
Right.
And they were like, "Who is Bear Love?" You know what I mean? They're like, "What?" And one of the guys actually told him, he goes, "That's White Boy's email."
Oh, that's
and
funny.
uh,
Oh,
and he was like, I got called down to the warden of the jail, and
you got
literally
called in a
not even
principal's
just a
office.
rent. He was like, "What the fuck are you doing in my blocks?" And he
Oh,
says, "You're gonna get people jobs," because I was gonna actually hire them if could do a call center. You know what I mean? If they
right,
were good. And
right.
basically, and he goes, "If you're the guy who's gonna get people jobs, aren't you gonna be getting preferential treatment in here?" He goes, "I can't have you doing that." And I said, "I'm going to take this right up to CNN." I said, I can't help rehabilitate people while we're in here." And so
Boy,
I
that
actually got a write up for
that
getting political clout in the jail.
I was gonna say, like, threatening the warden is probably not the thing to do, right?
Yeah, I mean, he didn't do anything, but they were writing it up. I just said, "Thank you for actually putting it on paper. I have the write up."
My God, that's amazing. All right, that's boy, what a pass, man.
I
So
know.
and I've seen some of your clips, man. You're a really funny guy. You got great energy. You got great energy. You have great command of the stage. A really cool presence. How did you come up with the name? Is Bear Love
Yep.
your birth name, or
No.
is that the name
So
that you came up with?
Jared is my birth name, and so just a family nickname, Jer Bear. My dad says
Oh,
he gave me the nickname at 5 days old. I was still in the hospital. They said when they started calling me Bear. So
how'd
some
it
of
come up
the
with
like,
Bear Love?
yeah, so some of the older like aunts in my family, they either only call me Bear or my dad's
Right.
name. So
Oh, I got it.
on accident. But
How did Bear Love come to be?
so the love I added simply because I was a weed dealer and I didn't want people to know my last name.
Oh. That's good. That's gonna be a tough one to tie to.
So you're
That's a
asking
tough
the
one.
right questions. Nobody ever got this side of the interview. Everybody else has something else, so that's good.
That's so funny. Yeah, it's not something you look in the white pages under Bear Love and like, oh, there he is. I see that guy. I got his address. I love it.
But it's
That's
funny because
funny,
there's
man.
a lot of people on Facebook that also chose to go with love. And so
Yeah.
we all call ourselves the Love
All
family.
porno
So
stars.
there's like Danny Love, there's like, Rebecca Love. There's a bunch of people that just chose
Right.
Love as their
Stormy
Facebook last
Love.
name. Yeah,
That's
and
so
so there
funny.
is a love tribe out there, and those are my people.
There's a love triangle of love names. All right, so you're deep in the weed. You popped some LSD. You got thrown into jail. So let's move into when did you get into comedy? Because you're a funny guy. I mean, I could just see you. I could see. Were you like a class clown, like in a
Yeah,
kind of
for
an
sure.
entertainment? I could tell you entertained your family and all that. When did you decide to get into stand-up comedy, and how did you get into stand-up comedy?
So basically, during COVID, like a lot of us that jumped in the industry during COVID,
Right.
We were all locked in our houses. So I was a touring musician. I was in a band called Perfectly Imperfect here in Denver. And we were getting like,
Mm.
I don't know, like 30 to 35 club shows a month. You know what I mean? Sometimes 2 shows in
Wow.
a night, so we were touring pretty hard, and then COVID hit
The
and we couldn't
original
do
project
any.
or cover?
It's a cover band. It was mostly Dead covers, but we
Cover.
had some originals. Yeah. We
Oh,
would
very
just play
cool.
Grateful
Okay.
Dead covers, and we had Perfectly Imperfect Sundays at Coyotes. It was one of the Grateful Dead bars here in Denver. Um,
Okay.
but so we were touring and playing. We would do often like where this guy who threw raves would build us a stage, and we would do like almost like the cigarette section at a rave. You know what I mean? Like with
Right.
acoustic instruments, we're out there playing outside. So we'd just get
Right.
booked by all these random. I did a show at a old folks home, and it was funny because we're jamming Grateful Dead music at an old folks home. One of the old guys stood up and he goes Grateful Dead and threw up his yeah. And
Now, were we able to sell them weed or no?
no, but you could tell if they didn't like your performance because all they would do, they wouldn't leave. They would just
They would
turn their
die.
hearing aid down. If you saw them flip back, you were doing bad. If you saw them flip forward, you're on point.
That's funny. And if they
Yeah.
keeled over, they were just dead.
And
So
only one person left to go to the bathroom, though, I think. But most
wow.
everybody else
The others
stayed.
just peed in their pants, right?
Most of them went to the bathroom right there.
Right there. That's what you do in a place like that. That's funny. Why get up? Someone's going to change me.
Yep.
That's so funny. All right. So during COVID, because now you're a musician, right? And so was stand-up comedy on your mind? Like, all of a sudden, it's like, I
So
want to give this a shot. How did you break in?
my band member is like an autistic savant, like just really, just goes at it. But he is
Right.
horrible at communicating, especially when something's wrong going on, like his guitar is having a malfunction and not coming through the speakers. And so he would be like yelling at the venue. You know what I mean? Why can't you fix this? And I'd be like, thank you for letting us play here. You know what I mean? So I had to sometimes grab the mic and be funny while he's over there going, yeah!
Oh, no way. So basically you became like kind of like the warm-up act while your guitarist was just losing it.
While he's figuring out shit. Yeah. And finally I figured out I just have to do all the wiring. And he just does, because he has like ADD and he gets that executive dysfunction where he just kind of shuts down, and then he gets, and so I was like, I became our sound guy too.
I think he needed a little wiring too, if you needed to help him out. But
he's actually got a good story though. He's got 8 years sober, and he actually used LSD to get sober. He was a horrible drunk, and he actually did microdosing and got himself sober. So I think he's just kind of also grumpy because he doesn't drink anymore.
I could get that. I get that. So, all right. So you're warming up. Well, I wouldn't say you're warming up. You're defending the band by trying to break the ice with a little bit of humor, and then you realize, okay, I'm on stage with a microphone. I'm cracking jokes. Should I maybe take this out into a comedy scene and lose the instruments? I mean, what happened then?
So what ended up happening is I got into all the different podcasts during COVID. And, and the roots of them is most of those guys are stand-up comedians. So I got into I've always been a stand-up fan, but I think I watched, how everybody was binging on different TV. I think I watched every available stand-up special during COVID.
Oh, totally.
So just anyone that came out, like, how they do like 3 or 4, every couple of months, and every old one that I could find. And so that was my deep dive. And so I kind of just had the art. And then we got shows like Kill Tony, Stand Up on the Spot, like cool, like theme shows coming out. And even though I didn't really like Tony at first, I thought he was a dick. I'm Bear Love, you know what I mean? But just these different formats. And then I was like, holy shit. But Kill Tony, like Tony roasting people, showed me what not to do. You know what I mean? As a storyteller, like, oh, you got to go up there and tighten that shit up. Otherwise, you're kind of disrespectful to the people who've done it for a long time.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so I kind of had some good teachers through that access of YouTubes and watching their inner process.
Yeah.
And so then there was a lot of like Kill Tony bucket pulls that were that we were fans of, and we were in a group online, and we started doing some before Stand Up Comedy USA was called Stand Up Comedy USA. I shared a group with a friend that was called Kill Tony Fans.
Right.
And so we actually had all of the fans for Kill Tony coming into this group, and we would all just talk about it and make memes and just have a little community based around it. And we would see the bucket pulls were actually coming in after they went on, and we were like, it was almost like we were getting to hang out with them. And so I, having the good club connections and stuff from my music days, I saw these comics just failing at launching their careers when they had good pop. You know what I mean? They had good online pop from either going viral on TikTok or one of the, but they didn't know how to transition to that to getting on a stage. And so I just kind of, because it was still COVID, the end of COVID, I'm just doing a construction job. I just started helping launch people's brand, like, and help them launch their brand and just be like, okay, this is what, all right. I'd be like, why aren't you posting these pictures of you with, like, why not, like, just trying to manage people like a little bit. And then I became like a manager behind the scenes with all my friends I cared about. And we're all still sharing memes. And so everybody was like, you're funny. Like, why don't you do this? And so it was more like people who had helped launch them. I had already been in the industry kind of for like a year before I went on stage.
Oh, interesting. So when you say they weren't popping, is it because they were hitting the clubs and just not funny, or they just
some of them, what would happen is they would get a little bit of fame from being on Kill Tony or being on having a real go, but then they would try and that would get them booked in Oklahoma or Nebraska or 6 hours away. But then they go there, and I found out that some of them were sitting in the green room and getting their shows canceled because they weren't hitting the club minimum.
Oh.
And I found out that a lot of these venues had a 25-person club minimum, and if you don't sell
25 people,
if you don't have 25 tickets sold as a headliner, they cancel your show even up to the day of your show.
Wow.
Because they're not going to call the staff in and lose money. You know what I mean? So I found that out. And so what I started doing is I started saying, okay, how about you go into, if you're going to get a show in Oklahoma, how about you go into the Oklahoma Facebook groups for comedy first?
Right.
Go, and we will all go over there and help comment and like your thing and kind of make it visible. And then people know that you're coming to town. And so I just helped them kind of do a street team thing. And so I was like helping people reach because we had to actually pass out flyers for our pop-up show. You know what I mean? When we were doing music. Yeah.
You had to bark.
And so it was just taking what musicians always had to do and taking this whole new generation of comics that started during COVID and trying to be like, okay, what do we do with this? And we've just been trying to, our class has just been trying to help each other rather than, be competitive. And it's been fun.
Now, is this what created the Comedy Cartel? Is that what this is called now?
Yeah. What we basically, the reason I started Comedy Cartel and Stand Up Comedy USA is because the Kill Tony comics are only like the edgy comics. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so I wanted somewhere where every comic could feel safe to share their content, even if it's some cheesy, clean comedy. Where they're talking about spraying milk out of their nose. I want that to be, but if that was, if that clean comedy was in the Kill Tony, they're just going to get roasted because that's Tony kind of set that stage of being a roaster, And so I had to kind of break away just so that everyone could feel like their comedy was potential to hit a fan.
I got it. So, all right. So you started this, which is pretty cool. You kind of got into the pseudo management of sorts. And then you decided after a year doing this, why don't I do this? And then, all right. So then what happened? Did you start tracking out open mics, or because you said you're already in relationship with clubs? Did you just start getting on shows?
I wrote a set first. I wrote 5 minutes because I found out that's what everybody does. 5 minutes. And then I recorded it and listened it to myself over and over again. So it was like in my head, like, wow, is that just working? I was listening to myself repeat it. So then I knew, like, when I went up there, I was ready. It wasn't good material, but I was ready to deliver the material. I always came with the energy, you know what I mean? And people
Yeah,
would
yeah.
always respond to the energy by either clapping or, laughing, you know what I mean? And so I always had a pretty good experience, never like the bombing feeling, you know what I mean? Because I prepared. So I feel like the
Right.
Kill Tony and like the over preparingness helped me. So I wrote a set, and then I heard one of the comedians on the podcast say, "Don't perform your first time at like a bar show where you have to compete with
Right.
the bar." He said, "Drive
Right.
the distance to the first comedy club and
Right.
actually perform at a
Oh,
comedy club." So I was in East
exactly. We're
Lansing, and I
familiar
drove
with
all the
them.
way down to Columbus, Ohio, and I went to the
Ohio. Wow.
Columbus Comedy Funny Bone. And I
Okay.
put my name in the bucket, and I got pulled first out of the bucket out of 35 people.
Good for
And
you,
so
man.
I was ready to quit and go home and not do it, but I was like, okay, this is happening.
And you did it.
And then I got
And
addicted.
and then you got it, right? It's a totally addicting craft. So are you I was watching some of your material. First of all, they find people can find you at Bear Love Comedy, right?
Yeah.
That's where they can find okay.
Yeah. I
Um
had to add the comedy on there. Otherwise, it takes them to a porn site that they don't want to be at,
well,
probably.
as it should. As
Just
it
bare
should.
love.
You know. Bear BARE.
Yes.
So
Yes.
for those of our listeners out there, check out Bear Love out at Bear Love Comedy. He's really funny. You'll see he's got a great energy, great presence, and you a lot of material is you're kind of your hippie. You're on this hippie thematic of sorts. Like you're kind of I don't want to say self-deprecating because it's not. I mean it's who you are and it's part of your persona. But it fits because you look the part, and you also have your material is also from your past, and well, even some more of your present. You're kind of living the name. You're not like it's not like some pseudonym, or you're just like making something up. No, you're kind of you're a hippie dude.
Yep. I have friends that were born in the bathtub at home, many of them.
I have friends that their parents tried to kill them in the bathtub, so it's a little different. But so literally, I mean, you were, but you kind of, and it's a great shtick. I don't say shtick in a derogatory sense, but it's a great theme that you carry through your set.
Yeah, and it's actually really easy when I'm building these longer sets. Like I'm doing 15 minutes at the Denver Improv this week,
Nice.
and it's really easy to build my sets because it is such a on brand type of jokes that it's
Right.
like they all kind of go into each other, like
Right.
there's some joke writers that are really good and they're more talented than me. They can pull a joke with a punchline and a setup out of anything, and it's just like, and
Right.
that's
Right.
harder
Right.
for them to transition. It's even harder for them to remember the transitions because the jokes don't connect, you know what I
They
mean?
don't connect. Yeah, they're not
And
continuous. Yeah.
so mine, they all
Mm.
connect, and it's all from life experience. It's just stupid stoner stuff that I thought would be funny, you know what I mean? And
Yeah, well, you're a storyteller. I mean, and your stories are funny because they're true, and they're like they're beyond like realistic sometimes. But you're a storyteller. But the events that happen to you are funny. They're very entertaining, and I can and people are laughing.
and I got some good training by some people that I look up to, and basically what they said to me is I was talking about opening for them because I was friends with them from my past life, and
Right,
they were like, okay, and they listened to one of my 5-minute stories, and they were
right.
like, how is that going to warm up my crowd? He's like, they listen to you intently. He goes, they listened to you intently for 5 minutes,
Right,
and then they
right.
clapped and cheered at the very end. You know,
Oh, right, because
he's
they're just engaged for
yeah,
5 minutes, and
he
then
goes,
okay, thank
he
you.
goes, he goes, I want jokes. He goes,
Right,
he goes, I want joke, joke, joke. He goes, I want them to open their hands. I want them to open their mouth, get them warm.
right,
He
right,
goes, move them, like poke at
right,
them. And he really taught me what, my job was as an opener. It isn't,
right.
they're not there for my headlining. They're here, they're
No,
there for me to tell a few pops and maybe a quick
yeah,
story and then pass the
yeah.
mic so that the headliner can set that stage. And so
Oh,
somebody
no doubt.
somebody real fast. So now I finally feel like I can get into my bag of stories because I finally
Right.
feel good enough that I can do those hits up front, put in one or two good stories now that I'm getting longer sets. And so I am a storyteller, but I at least have jokes. You know what I mean? And so I feel like I'm getting my shit.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, it's true what he says because, whether there's a headline or not, I mean, I've done some shows with several comics, and when you come off a show where, where some of the comics are just, not as strong, the audience, by the time maybe even if you're like the third or fourth comic up, they get a little bit kind of discouraged. But I've also been on some shows where, I was like the fourth or fifth, the kind of I don't say the headliner, but kind of like on the tail end, which I love. But the other three or four have like nailed it. And when you get up there, they're primed, which almost puts a little more pressure on it. It's like, okay, now what do you got? But they're primed for laughing. They're like, okay, we're here to laugh. And they're not discouraged. They're actually encouraged. So I love that. So I get what he's saying. I get it. And, you learned, and now it seems like your sets there's stories, but they're punchlines and jokes within each of these stories that kind of carry through, as opposed to just, waiting for the punch or the delivery at the end of the day. Right.
Yep.
I love it. That's very cool, man. So you got, are you performing a lot? I mean, are you pretty active in Denver?
I'm on at least one paid show a week.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Good for you.
So,
where's your next show? You say you have a show tonight.
Tonight, randomly, Drew Nickens from Kill Tony, a golden ticket winner, he's in town, and he was part of my Kill Tony fans group back when he started, and he's somebody who we really cared about him and supported him right in the beginning. And so he's coming to town, and he's doing a headlining set, and so I get to go do some time on his thing, and I'm going to go out there and bark in some people for him and try and help sell some tickets since he's from Austin. And so then on this Thursday I'm really pumped. I've never performed at the Denver Improv before. And
the Improv.
So I get to perform at the Improv this Thursday, and they gave me 15-minute set. So I'm pumped.
You, man. That's gonna be huge.
I know. So
and they do a good house crowd. Are they expecting you to bring people, or are they just
I'm going to pass out 500 flyers for that show.
Oh, I love it. What do you pass out flyers? I mean, you're literally on the street.
I go right so there's a Target right across from the Improv. I'm sitting out at Target, and they gave me comp tickets. So I say, hey, if you say my name, you can come in. You know what I mean? So I want to get a good tape. So I just want as many people there as possible.
Oh, good for you, man. I mean, when you pass out these flyers, are you giving people like discounts, or just saying like, just here,
so
just come on?
It depends on what me and the producer, if I'm producing it, depends on what my goals are. Like if it's like somebody that's coming in from out of town and I just want them to have a good show and I've already guaranteed them money, then I might just go give out a bunch of free tickets. Right. You know what I mean? Right. And so sometimes they're comp tickets, just free. And sometimes it's just a flyer with a QR code that takes them straight to the ticket link. And so what my numbers are, though, if I'm trying to sell $20 tickets to no name comics, but they're a quality show, but they don't have a name. If I'm trying to sell, I usually just put the word stand-up comedy on the flyer. I don't put the names, you know what I mean? I say stand-up comedy, the time, the address, and the QR code. And if I pass out 800 of those flyers, I will get 40 people to show up and pay.
Wow. Good for you. That's great.
So I went and figured out the numbers as far as I've produced about, probably 70 shows in the last year.
Yeah.
See, these are all the shows that I produced at. I was at the venue called Gnarly's, but they weren't paying me, so I stopped doing that.
All right. Yeah, and that stuff adds up, man. Wow, good for you, man. Well, good luck. Have a good show tonight. Break the proverbial leg.
Yes. Thank you,
man. It was such a pleasure having you on the show. I can't believe the show is almost over. But before we go, I got a little bit of segment that I want to do with you, man. It's called Repeat Offenders, which apparently you are. In more ways than one, but this is actually from comedy. I'm going to ask you 5 questions, all right? And first one, this is right up your alley. The first thing that comes up in your mind, don't overthink it. Then you just tell me your answer, all right? All right, here we go. Question number 1: if you could invite anyone over to your house for dinner, dead or alive, who's coming to Barry Love's house?
Jerry Garcia.
Jerry Garcia. Absolutely. Why not?
Just a little jam session.
Yeah, good for you, man. Maybe you can sell him some weed.
Yes, he actually they just found I think it was who was it? Was it Merle Haggard? That they just found Jerry's weed pipe stuffed between a bed in San Francisco when they
They
cleaned out
didn't
Merle.
bury him with it.
Yeah, and no, there was still a bull pack in it, and so
Oh,
somebody
man,
got to hit that weed with Jerry.
that's demented stuff. Too funny. All right, question number 2 for Bear Love. If you could tour with any comic, dead or alive, who you touring with?
Theo Vaughn.
Oh yeah, he's so funny.
Just because he just seems stonerific, even though his stuff isn't pot. I just think that um, I just think his stupid humor, like when he's just being dumb, is some of my stupid
Yeah,
humor.
hysterical. Yeah, I love that guy. All right. Question number 3. If you were a ghost, who are you gonna spend your most time haunting?
If I was a ghost, I would spend most of my time haunting people golfing. I would just be right there in their backswing, just right there in their backswing, like
Mess
motherfucker.
them up. Yeah, make them slice it. That's all right.
Yeah.
Very cool. And even during the day, you don't need to haunt at night. You
Yeah,
can do it during the day.
right.
All right,
I'm
2 more
full
questions
time.
for you. If a genie gave you a wish, one wish only, what's Bear Love wishing for?
Well, I'm a hippie. World peace, man.
World peace. You're not
A
the only one that
ceasefire
said
in
that.
every country.
No, that's beautiful, man. That's beautiful. That's so hippieistic. I love it, man. All right, last question, Bear Love, who's in the Denver area, and you got to see this guy, man. He's out. He's working it, and he's funny. If you had to wear a sign around your neck for the rest of your life, what does it say?
I love you.
I love you. That's it. That's very hippie. But not really. I don't know. That's not so hippie. I think that's just sweet. I
I
thought you were
am
going to say like.
super hippie. But I
I thought you
have
were
a
going to say
very
you wanted my
I,
weed.
I have a very Christian upbringing.
Oh,
And
really?
my family always said, you got to stay out of the world. Don't integrate with them. Don't integrate with the world. And then I saw these hippies, and they really didn't integrate with the world. And they really carried that sign of love around their neck. You know what I
They
mean?
did. But that
And
seems so anti-Christian to say for your parents to say that too. Don't they want you to kind of integrate and spread
no,
the
they
gospel?
just didn't want us to we were almost like Mennonite. You know what I mean?
Oh, okay.
Like don't go out and be a part of, we don't need that technology. Like we'd use technology,
Kind
but
of
we don't
Amish.
need.
Very
Yeah,
Amishness.
some people,
Yeah.
because my aunts will wear the hair wraps and the long skirts.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Some people
Wow.
would think that we were Mennonite or Amish or something. But so when you give somebody who was raised with that kind of love and that kind of hope, and you give them LSD, woo,
Yeah. That's a
they're
lethal
going to have a
concoction.
spiritual experience.
Experience. Yes. A Mennonite on LSD, man. There's nothing better than a Mennonite on LSD.
One time I baptized myself in San Diego by jumping off the pier naked on LSD. I
Well, listen,
regretted
man. If
that
you
when I got to the shore because I had no clothes.
Oh, that's funny. Probably not as painful as when you circumcise yourself on LSD.
Yeah, yeah. Thank God that didn't happen. Oh my God.
Yeah. I got really upset when I got to the shore. I'm like, damn it, where's that tip of my penis? Where did that go?
Oh, it could have been
You know
worse.
what?
Thank you. I thought I had the worst night.
You know what? I'm telling you, man, we just created, you're going to use this tonight. We just created a little bit of your material of how a Mennonite and LSD, how they act, of how you got yourself baptized. But even went worse, you took it one step further. You actually circumcised yourself. And you're still looking for that tip. You're still looking for that tip. You're gonna whip that out tonight, man.
Yeah.
You don't even have to credit me.
Yeah, and
We're
then I'll
good. We
say,
wrote it together.
and so it might be small because of that accident, but I still have big dick energy.
Right, man. You got big bear love, man. What a pleasure meeting you, man.
Love you,
I
man.
look forward to sharing the stage with you, man. You are fun. You got great energy. You got to follow Bear Love at Bear Love Comedy. He is performing a lot in the Denver area.
Yeah,
Go
and
check
we're
him
about
out,
to
man.
take off. I stopped accepting shows until December out of the area. But after December, I'm accepting shows out of Denver. So
Good for you. You're gonna you're hitting the road, man. You're going on tour. You're going on
that's
tour.
what I wanted. I just wanted to be, with my dog and my van and just going town to town, and I don't want to, sell weed anymore or acid. So I really needed a different reason for traveling.
That's a good reason. That's a fair. You know what? It's like that scene in Fast Times when you open up the van door and all the smoke comes out. Is that what happens when you're going to be touring?
Oh man, we were the best. Yeah, I would have the kayaks on the top. And I got all the way down to the south because I was tired of kayaking these cold rivers. And I was like, I'm going to go down into Louisiana and kayak the warm rivers. And I forgot about alligators.
Yeah. They're down there. They're down there. Well, listen, man. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, and when it starts to rain, all the alligators come up to the top of the water for some reason when you're kayaking. I was like, I'm done.
Yeah, because they're looking for the idiots who are on top of the water. They're like, if there's an idiot on top of the water, I'm going to eat that mother. So
they're like, what's going on? Yep.
That's
well,
funny.
thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Thanks for
all
coming
of
on
my
the show.
all of my sets, ever since I started, are on YouTube on Bear Love Comedy. And then I just upload every set so people can see the process of how I've developed a whole, so they can see all of my failures and how I built it to where I am now. But my most content is on Instagram, Bear Love Comedy, no spaces.
Bear Love Comedy. I love it. All right, Bear Love. Have a great show tonight. Good luck with you.
Thank
Happy
you.
holidays as we're heading into the holiday season. And one day I'd love to get on stage with you, man. I think it'd be a lot of fun.
If you're out here, let me know.
I will do that, my friend. You take care. Longo, great show.
Great show indeed. I'm
Bear
feeling
Love,
the
man.
love.
He is funny. Check him out at Bear Love Comedy. This is John Kenneth, another phenomenal sit-down stand-up. If I do say so myself, because I can say that because it's my show. And we are out of here.